giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Don't worry about the voice. We pushing through. What's happening, people? Coming up today, we're going to play a little game. Bringing back best, better, or bust. Previously, it was best or bust. We threw a little better in there. I got 4 players that had okay seasons, a bad season, maybe a season that we wanted a little bit more from. We're going to see if they can be better, if it'll be their best, or if they'll bust out. So stick with me. Plus, we got a position switch. Maybe we'll see. We'll talk about it in a roundup. A potential, I don't want to say switch, but a specific player on the Cowboys is working elsewhere to have a better chance to get on the field. But before we get into all that, first of all, what's up, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
We got real breaking news, though, yeah? As I'm getting ready to come on here, I get the notification on my phone, obviously on the computer here. Breaking news. Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings have come to an agreement on a new record-breaking contract for JJ. Here it is right here from Ian Rappaport. The Vikings and all-pro wide receiver Justin Jefferson have a new deal to reset the wide receiver market and make him the NFL's highest paid non-quarterback. It's a mammoth 4-year extension worth $140 million, $35 million per year, $110 million. Yo, excuse me, yo. My bad. Man. Hey, Jerry, is these the tea leaves you're waiting for? Or what are the tea leaves? What did Jerry say? The leaves. We're waiting for the leaves to fall to sign our guys. We love to get out in front of hurt guys because we can get that deal, right? Hey, we can sign Michael Gallup to a cheap wide receiver 2 contract. We can sign Terrence Steele. Not saying that's a cheap deal, but if Terrence Steele, went out there and say this year and balled out, and we'll talk about T Steele, and now he's up for a contract, it would have been more. So they like to get ahead of these hurt guys. Why not get ahead of these type, though? Because CeeDee Lamb and his agent are looking at this deal and they're like, all right, look, I know that's Justin Jefferson, but goddammit, I'm CeeDee Lamb. And before you say, yeah, but that's Jetta and all this and all that, go look at CeeDee Lamb's first 4 years in the National Football League. Go look at him. He is one of the best receivers to start a career in the history of the game, and he's going to go into that. He, as in his agents, will go into that room with that information. And now with this information saying, hey, man, 34, 35 is if it ain't that, we not talking. So if Jerry would have got in front of this thing, maybe last year, like I said, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. But that is how the cookie crumbles, Cowboys Nation. What's your thoughts real quick before we get to the roundup on this money here? I mean, it's getting crazy. I used to say I think quarterbacks should have their own salary cap. I don't know how to make that work. I'm not a capologist. I have no idea, but I still feel that way because the numbers are just getting crazy. The wide receiver market is approaching that now. I'm not saying that they should get their own, but Wide receiver and quarterback, what? I mean, maybe defensive end is up there, but I don't know that there's another position not named quarterback that is paying more than this on a yearly basis. So if you got a special one, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, yes, absolutely do it. If they aren't that special, you might have to start churning these damn wide receivers. It's getting kind of crazy. That bread crazy said, hey, or is finna be crazy? Absolutely. He's about to get the bag. Let's see here. Let me hold 100. He said, Twan said, perfect, but shoot, they not paying a QB get paid. I mean, all these dudes should get paid. My thought was a different cap, since they have a cap, right? Like, should we have a different cap for quarterbacks? Because $50 million is about to be a normal going rate for a starting quarterback per season. Now, you can manipulate salary cap and whatnot. For a wide receiver one, you're probably not going to go below 25, 26, 27 million dollars. And for the top guys, you're talking about 30 plus. You're not even discussing anything below $32 million now. AJ Brown, he started that. 32 million is where that's where it starts at, and we're going up from there. So it's getting wild, man. It's getting wild. All right, we will have a lot more on this, obviously, whenever the Cowboys decide to. I saw somebody in there say something about Pat. Let me see. Do we get breaking news? Per Pat, June 4th was always a date to circle for Lamb. Any absences after that were mandatory fine. Okay. Yeah, so tomorrow is the mandatory aspect of the offseason. The previous 2 weeks were the voluntary part, and a lot of people have been voluntary across the league. And obviously the big one here was Micah. A lot of people don't like that. But he was out for the voluntary, but for the mandatory, that starts tomorrow. And as you said here, Professor O, if CeeDee Lamb's not here tomorrow, then it gets a little interesting because fines start to occur, and we know it's a legitimate holdout. We understand right now it's a holdout, but it's a soft holdout because it's just voluntary. If he don't come this week, if he doesn't come during training camp, it's a real holdout, which this isn't new here. We've seen this with Des Bryant. We've seen this with last year, Zach Martin, Ezekiel Elliott, DeMarcus Lawrence. We've seen this thing go, all right? So we'll know more today, all right? Before that, let's hit this roundup and get into the work.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
I'm trying to talk to you, man. See, one thing you forget when you have your little ones, they're going to get you sick. The daycare, something going to get you sick. Good Lord. So I think the most interesting thing to come out of last week's final week of OTAs was this little nugget right here. Duce Vaughn is getting some work out of the slot. And he talked about it, a little brief interview they had on .com. This was Duce Vaughn on getting work in the slot. He said, quote, "It was one of those things that we had kind of talked about at the end of last season, talking with offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, just a little bit about getting with the slot, just learning a bit more about it because it's one of those things I did in college and love to do. It just adds another value." They asked him, so who are you looking at? Who you trying to emulate or who you studying? He said, quote, "When I went upstairs and started watching, a guy that I watched a lot was Cole Beasley. Sauce. Not a big guy in prowess, but I mean, understood his IQ of the game, seeing coverages, being able to sit down in zones, being able to understand how to beat leverage is unreal. I watched him this offseason." Now, this is not a full transition to the slot cornerback position. To the slot wide receiver position. He's just trying to add more versatility to his game. In Cowboys Nation, I like this a lot. I mean, I don't know if this will work out, but how many times have we talked about, or at least me personally, hey man, this guy has a specific set of skills. Are we creative enough to use them? Last year, obviously not. This year, they're trying to work at that. So just him having the ability to be kind of a change of pace playmaker, that alone I like, incorporating him elsewhere in the offense. Then you also have to think about, I often talk about like slot receivers, right? The Cowboys don't really have, honestly, they don't really have one. You look at Brandon Cooks, you would think that, but Brandon Cooks, he moonlights in the slot. He does slot things, but I think he's more of a Z receiver and maybe a slot receiver's body. Turpin's still learning. Maybe Turpin evolves to that this year, but that's not what he really was coming out, that Cole Beasley type. Dallas hasn't really had that the last few years. And I'm not saying Duce Vaughn is going to be that. But if something were to happen to one of the guys, can Duce moonlight in there to help you out? And eventually, hey, maybe he does transition. Who knows? But I remember the first name that Coach McCarthy brought up when they drafted Duce Vaughn was Randall Cobb. That's what they brought up. Randall Cobb. Now, Randall Cobb a little bit bigger. Cole Beasley is like quite literally an inch bigger or something. I don't know. Both of these dudes is tiny. But nonetheless, being in a slot and being a slot, not a big slot, is about quickness and shiftiness and being able to have that two-way go to route somebody up. We've seen him do it in college. We've seen him do it very briefly in the preseason last year, but that was coming out the backfield for real, where he had a Texas route and he rose up and grabbed I think it was a high ball from the third string quarterback. But I like this. I think Duce Vaughn needs to find a way to be able to do something else to get on the field, because if not, and they just say, all you can do is hand the ball off to you, you can't catch the ball in the backfield, and he's one-dimensional. And I don't think that's the case. I think Duce has always been a guy that can catch the ball in the backfield. That's why I dubbed him our satellite back. Get him in space. Allow him to use that stature, that quickness, that leverage ability. Get him out there. And then maybe you mix it up with him on the inside, but we're going to see. If this works out, I think Duce will have a legitimate role in the committee. And I think that's what this is about, trying to find a spot for Duce Vaughn in the committee. If it doesn't work out, could he be on his way out? Too early for that. I don't think so. I think Duce Vaughn is here to stay this year. Get out of here. I think it would take him to be absolutely horrible in the preseason and training camp for him not to be. The running back room is not deep enough. It has a lot of bodies, but it's not deep enough, in my opinion, and talent to say one of these 3 through 6 guys are definitely gone. Maybe the Snoops of the world, who knows? But Duce is a 6th-round pick, draft pick. I think it's going to take a lot for him to get off this team. Why not get Winfro? Oh, Hunter. No, I feel you. I feel you, Carol. But I don't think they're trying to transition Duce full-time in the slot, Carol. I think what this is trying to find another way to get Duce Vaughn involved. So maybe you come out in 21 personnel. Maybe it's Ezekiel Elliott, Duce Vaughn. You get a motion. Duce is now in the slot against, who's one of the weak-ass linebackers for the Eagles? I don't even know. One of those linebackers, right? Now I got a mismatch. So I think this is what that is about. Trying to find a way to utilize his skills. If it was just purely slot, yeah, I agree. Go get a pure slot guy. Get a pure slot guy. All right, so hell, Duce Vaughn could have been in today's episode of Best, Better, or Bust. We did this a few years ago, maybe last year, I can't remember. And we just did Best or Bust, right? Will this player be closer to his best or closer to busting out? I threw in better here because not everybody is going to be their best version of themselves in their career, especially for some of these veterans who've been around for a while. And they're not just going to bust out. But can they be better than last year? I wanted to throw that in there for you guys to participate. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. And I want to start off with this specific player because he actually brought up something he confirmed something that we discussed on this channel, on this show, a lot when Zimmer was hired, and that was the schematic differences between him and Dan Quinn. But kick this thing off with Jordan Lewis. J. Lou, 2023 last year, he's coming off of that severe Liz Frank injury. I remember that. Not a lot of people really, obviously the season goes on, he's on the field, we don't really care, right? But he had a severe, almost career-threatening injury. There was the story that I think it was Pat Nosey Walker brought up, where Pat said, hey man, they had to get people over to his place in camp because he was in a dark space, like a really, really dark space. And he talks about that dark space a little bit in the interview. But he worked his way back and he made himself available for the season. Now, he was expected to be cornerback 4, veteran depth, and brought along slowly during the season because of the injury. But then in week 2, boom, Diggs goes down. J. Lou has to step in. And he was the cornerback 3 for the remainder of the season. So for about 14, 15 games, he was the slot cornerback. Finished the year with a pick, 4 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, had some up moments, had some down moments. And I think the down moments, a lot of people really hung on. But when you really, in my opinion, really watched him, I think he performed like a very serviceable slot cornerback. Was he a playmaker? No, he was not. But you would, if you listen to a lot of fans, you would think Jordan Lewis is the worst cornerback in the world. I didn't see that. I can't come out here and fake it to you. I just didn't see that week in, week out from the guy. I think a lot of people got hung up on that play against the Eagles on 4th down and just never let go of it. But, I thought he fought his ass off. I thought he was one of your tougher guys. He had the most run stops among cornerbacks on the team. And, he's going to be counted on now to legitimately be your cornerback 3. But last year as a cornerback 4, I thought Jordan Lewis performed about as good as a cornerback 4 could possibly perform, especially coming off a severe Liz Frank injury. He talked about that injury in his return last week.
It was always dark times. It was just I knew I was gonna come back. I didn't know what timeline it would be, and I didn't start playing well until probably quarter of the season was over. So that was really what the dark times were. Just trying to get back to form and playing and performing to my best abilities, and that was the thing. I could always play. It was just getting back to making those plays and being out there and being explosive if I can. So once I got that at the end of the season, I understood that coming into this season it'd be better.
I agree with him there. In the sense of coming into the season, I think he'll be better. And I'm not even saying that he was bad when he got thrown out there after Trey Diggs went down. He had to step in like immediate. I mean, he got in there in week 2 against the Jets because we had reviewed that film here, but he started week 3. And I from there on, I didn't think he was as bad as it was made out to be. But he admitted there, it took some time for me to get my legs under me. It took some time to get back right to where I felt comfortable. And it showed by the end of the season, he started making plays for you. The game against the Lions comes to mind. The game against, let's see, I think I might actually have that up here. The game against, I know Miami, beat us, but Jordan Lewis made a few plays in the backfield there. Had the interception against the Lions. Made a play against Washington. You saw J. Lou kind of start to come on a bit towards the end of the year. And I mentioned this with Zim. About Zim. I think he's gonna like Jordan Lewis a lot. Zimmer likes smart guys. Zimmer likes tough corners, smart DBs, I should say, and tough DBs. That's 2 things that Jordan Lewis is. You can say whatever the hell you want to say about him, but saying he doesn't have a high IQ and he's not a tough player would be false. And we might see J. Lou blitz a lot more this year. We might see J. Lou move around a little bit more. he was asked about what would be different from a coverage aspect on the back end.
We're just gonna mix it up. It's not just gonna be a few coverages where offense can I guess pin what you're doing. So I feel like it's gonna be a lot of chess matches out there when we go into play. So I feel like it's gonna be really good for our guys that just not mixing it up and being unpredictable. So I think that's gonna make plays. That's gonna help us make a lot more plays.
Gonna mix it up. Gonna be more unpredictable. How many players have come out and kind of said something along those lines of, hey, yeah, we're not gonna do the same 3 damn plays, and I'm no one said that on the record, but yeah, there's gonna be more disguises, and that is what Mike Zimmer does. We talked about that when we broke him down. A lot of people love the whole front seven aspect of it, discipline up front, double A gap. I love what we're gonna do in the back end, combo coverages, mixing things up. You might see something over here that's not the same over there. Cowboys weren't doing that consistently. That's why it requires smarter corners a little bit. And I think that's why I think Jay Lou, when you look at best, better, or bust, where you got Cowboys, I think he will be better. I think he's a really good fit with Zimmer's scheme. Barring any type of injury, he's second year removed from the severe injury. I can see Jay Lou being better. Now, being his best, I won't go that far. But this scheme, I think, the scheme change alone will bring that out. But also being more healthy, I think he'll be better. What say you, Cowboys Nation? Best, better, or bust? Rockstar says better. Angry Cowboy fans better. Nick better. Twan says better. Let's see here. Aislinn better. Toxic better. Everybody's better here. Everybody's better here. I think I saw best somewhere. Tyrone said best. For those who may be just jumping up in here, we did the breaking news with Justin Jefferson earlier and correlated with the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb. We'll revisit it later. But right now we are on to best, better, or bust. And do you believe Jordan Lewis will be his best, will be better from 2023, or bust out? Looks like everybody is on board here with better. Toxic said the one Michigan player that worked out. That's facts. That's facts. So far. It's all good. It's all good, Sadiqa. I just want to reiterate that for those who are out there. We talked about it. We'll get back to it though. Should definitely be one of his best years. That right there, Wiz back. It could be one of his best years. Will it be his best? That's what makes it interesting. What would you consider his best year though? Let's do that. Let's play a little bit. We're gonna go off schedule here a little bit. Let me see. A lot of people loved his rookie year. What was it? 2019. I was like, what was the year where he had that pick against the Jets? That was 2019. I feel like 2019 was pretty good too. So I would say either his rookie year, but he gave up 5 tutties in his rookie year, or 2019. No? 2 years ago when his foot got hurt, 2021. Yeah, he was playing pretty good there too. Now that I look at this, it would not shock me if he had his best year, y'all. It would not shock me. Interesting. Hey, let's wrap the banks real quick. What you got here on J. Lou? What's up with you?
What's going here? Shit. What's going on, Scott? It's been a minute since I called. J. Lou, man, I think, last year, I know he stepped up towards the end of the year. I know he caught a lot of flack from the fans about him on third down, but giving up some third downs and all. But no, I think he'll be better, just close to his best season, maybe.
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I think it'll be somewhere in between there. At first, at the beginning, I wanted us to re-sign Gilly. But it's not looking like this happening. Plus Bland said he wants to stay outside. So, it is, kind of what it is. But I think it'd be right around there as far as him this year under Zim and the new defense.
I do too. I think Zim's going to love him, like I said, man. Having that veteran guy.
Yeah, because
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because Zim runs. How is J. Lou, if you know his percentage, like his in coverage in zone, versus man?
Like what? Like his grade or something like that?
Yeah, like his play. Like you got your zone corners, you got your man corners. Some guys are better in zone. Some guys are better in man.
Yeah.
So
I think he's versatile.
Yeah,
I think if we have a good zone coverage scheme, Jay Lou can see it, read it, and go, because he has a high IQ. But I also think he might not be able to run with no Deshaun Jackson. We saw that, but I also think he can keep up with these slot guys because he's more quick than fast. That's why I don't think everybody can just slide into that slot and just go, because it's tough to have to deal with these two-way goals. So depending on the player, I'd rather him deal with the shifty guys than the bigger guys in the slot. So I think he's versatile.
Yeah.
I think he can drop back in zone and he can play that well. And I think he can man up against certain slots. I don't think the big ones, but the shifty ones.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. I think it'd be better, man. I just feel like the guys, the secondary, so to say, I'm hoping, and this is what I'm thinking, to just be put in better situations, to not get exposed, because at times last year, even before last year, at least I was saying, and I was noticing, it was times that we're being man, we probably should be in zone. You know what I mean? Getting beat on those deep crosses and just, on third down, we probably should have been in the zone, just from what I've seen, but.
Well, you do what you're best at, right? And Dallas was best at man. My issue is they just didn't have a counter much, and when they tried to throw a counter, well, if you listen to Wanye, he said they didn't really switch up much. But I'm sorry, I saw some zone coverages in that Green Bay game that I was like, yo, I don't normally do this. We don't normally see J-Ron Curse in the middle of the field trying to play, be Ed Reed. There was a lot of different zones in that game. I was just like, yeah, this probably ain't it. But with Zim, I don't think it's just going to be some curveball. I think his scheme is going to be, you're going to see a curveball. So get ready,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. They're playing, like I said, man, we should have played zone. That's just what I'm going by. Instead of sticking to what they know. But that's all I got. Hey, real quick, I know you're gonna touch on them, man, but we got to have the dumbest front office, man. And that's all I'm gonna say, man. Because they're in a bind now. They're in a bind. But that's all I got.
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate you, man.
All right.
I mean, they ain't got a choice. They have no choice. So they got to get this guy. I mean, you can argue up and down all you want about the quarterback. But even if you move on from the quarterback, you still need to have weapons for the next quarterback. Or guess what? Then we're going to be complaining about that quarterback, So they have to get this done. They just have to. Prefer it get done before Jamar Chase, because then it goes up more. So we'll see. All right, let's go to the second player here. We're going to switch sides. We're going to go on to the offensive side of the ball. And I'll be a little bit brief with this one because over the last few weeks, we've talked about Brandon Cooks a lot. A good bit. But I still feel like even in doing so, he's a bit underrated in a sense. And I get it. Because it didn't start off great. 2 touchdowns in the first 8 weeks. Missed the game, got hurt, right? But I think he finished strong. 6 touchdowns in the last 9 weeks. And I often talked about how he became, in my opinion, maybe the most clutch receiver on the team. that's not a knock on CeeDee Lamb. He had some clutch moments too, but Cooks just seemed to always come up with the game-changing reception. Most of the time, it was a touchdown. And he talked a little bit about how getting off to a better start in year 2, I think, is a real thing, and I'm with him. But here's Brandon Cooks on Dak Prescott and being in the year 2 system with him.
First off, it's just a practice, but is the ball coming out quicker, zippier, twitchier from Dak than maybe it was last year at this time between you two? Is that just a chemistry thing, or is there something to it? It just looks like it's coming out hot.
I mean, that's time on task with them, but at the same time, like I said, I think it was last week, like, he's on the mission. That ball coming out pretty in all aspects, short, medium, deep. So it's definitely exciting. Yeah, I know it's practice, but at the same time, you got to start somewhere. It's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, take it back to last year at this time. I mean, does it feel like there's just like a lot of sync out there?
I think so. Obviously, you get a year under your belt, right? You get a whole off season to be able to throw with one another and not waiting until OTAs and stuff like that. So I think that timing is just going to show itself better than the year before for sure.
I agree. I 100% agree there, and I think the way it ended, or that specific pick in the playoffs where he ran that whip route, and he, was it Jair Alexander ran right through him for the interception. I think that left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. For me, like I told you before, I ain't like the route. It was the play before the second pick, or it was a play before that pick actually, that I didn't like. And it was he ran a 9 down the left sideline, Dak threw it out there, and I was like, why? I thought it was right there. I don't know why he didn't lay out for it. I don't know what happened. Maybe he missed it, maybe he lost it in the lights, maybe the sun got in. I don't know. But I'm not going to let that deter me from the fact that he played much better in the second half of the year. Or I wouldn't say play much better. Cook's always a good player. Him and Dak started to connect more. And with CeeDee Lamb out, you're going to see them have more reps together. So when you talk about best, better, or bust, I'm not going to go as far as saying it's going to be his best year because I think he's had some really good years under his belt. But he will 100% be better, in my opinion. And that's 8 touchdowns he had last year. Is he capable of 10? I think so. He tied for 4th in red zone touchdowns by wide receivers. Now, could better be less touchdown, more yards and receptions? Yep, it sure can. It could mean 970 yards, 6 touchdowns. It could mean 1,100 yards and 6. That's still better. So best, better, or bust, Brandon Cooks. And I just looked over it, and look, somebody said, where'd it go? Corey said bust. I don't see 8 touchdowns. But see, you can be better without the touchdowns being more, Corey. He could have, let's just say, he could have 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns, I don't know, 70-some receptions. I don't believe he had, I know he definitely didn't have any of that last year. So I think you could be better with less touchdowns. So it's a bust if he doesn't have 8 touchdowns. Let me ask you a question specifically. If he has 1,200 yards, we'll go higher, 6 tutties, is that not better than last year? Where he had, 600 yards? Let's see here. Yeah, 657 yards. If he doubles his yardage but loses 2 tutties, that's not better? I don't know, brother. That's interesting. Cooks produce everywhere he goes, so it got to be better in year 2. I agree. We talked about that last year. When he got brought on, it was that first year he usually does well, and I think he did. It's just it took a while. All right, ready for the third one? This guy got to be the most polarizing one of non-quarterbacks in the last half decade. Maybe polarizing might be strong but I don't know, man. I see so many fans all over the place Because of? Well, not Zeke. Yeah, I mean, Zeke definitely up there for sure. But Terrence Steele. So he returns from his ACL injury last year that he suffered at the end of 2022. It took him a while. It took him some time. We broke the film down. He was looking, woo-wee. Was not looking good for Cuzzo. He couldn't sit at the grown folk table. He barely was my cousin last year. Weeks 1 through 9, he had 11 negative plays, 6 sacks, 5 penalties. That's terrible. But then in week 10 through 18, in the playoffs, Terrence started to look different. Sometimes the production might have caught up, but he looked different. He only had 4 negative plays, 2 sacks, 2 penalties. When I say negative plays, that's what I'm talking about. It's like splash plays, but for linemen. Then he got to the playoffs, and we always talk about his performance in the playoffs because I think he was the second best offensive lineman in that game behind Tyler Smith. And again, he looked his best, and he performed. That's why, for me, I think Terrence Steele is going to have his best season of his career. We got to remember, Cuzzo only 26 years old. This isn't some 30-something-year-old injury-prone dude. He is now a full season removed from his ACL. There is this, I don't know, there's this weird thing with Terrence where people believe he's some piss-poor pass blocker. Maybe it's because his career is sandwiched between his rookie year, which was awful, and then obviously his last year, which was not great till the end. But if you go look at 21 and 22, Terrence is a more than adequate. I'm talking about he is a good pass blocker. Is he great? Is he Tyler or I'm sorry, Tyron? No. Healthy Terrence Steele is actually a good pass blocker. Where he's great at it is in the run. But I don't know. Maybe it's because of what happened last year. Maybe it's because his rookie year. But again, sandwiched in between that is a really dependable pass blocker. And if he gets back to that on top of being the run guy you're now talking about one of the up-and-coming right tackles like he was on his way to being. Now, they paid him to not be up-and-coming. They paid him to be the guy, and I think he will remind everyone why he is. That's my big little cuz, CJ. So, best, better, or bust. This one probably going to go off the rails here with this, so I'm interested. Best, better, or bust for Terrence Steele. I got best. I think this will be his best year. Best year of his career. How much preseason did he play? Night Ranger? I cannot remember. I don't think much, given the whole knee thing. Toxic said, a man of that size having an injury that serious coming back as fast as he did is incredible. Brian says best, Swain better, Edwin best. Twan said just survive. Oh, he's much better than just survive. Come on, Twan. He's way better than just survive. Last year I was like, hey, cuz you just gotta survive, dog. I mean, you gave up 4 sacks in that Eagles game. I'm like, Lord, just survive. Better, best. I think this is gonna be his best, man. I feel probably more confident about Terrence Steele, if you want to use the word bouncing back, whatever, than any other player that may have had a down year. And he's not really my cousin for those who, he's not really we share the same last name, and I'm not being biased. I'm just really encouraged by what I saw in this game. Really encouraged. Do I still have the Philly? Let me see if I still have that. I don't. It's somewhere else. Hallelujah. I say better, but I understand best. Yeah. Let's get Bishop Kane on the horn. What's good with you, Bishop Kane?
Man, what's up with it, Scott?
I'm chilling. How you?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling, enjoying this Mavericks championship weather. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I didn't even bring that up, man. Or did I? I can't remember. It's been a whirlwind since I got sick. But yeah, the Mavericks in the finals is pretty cool, man. And I hope they take this thing and put some more pressure on the Cowboys.
Yes, sir. I mean, Jerry can't help but look across the pond and see everybody getting these chips, or at least putting up
across the street
man-like attempts deep into the playoffs. You know, because the Stars did just lose, but at least they made it to the Western Conference Finals or whatever.
Did they lose? See, I wasn't following.
They lost last night.
Damn. I was hoping they would go so we can get
though,
there.
Because they did what they did. They showed up though. They showed up. They ain't just goddamn go to there and get kicked out the
That's
stage
true.
right
That's
away.
true. That's true. But isn't that the second time that they went to the Western Conference in the last couple years or something?
Yeah, in the last 4 years. I ain't gonna cap the Stars being relevant since like 99, 2000.
I stopped really following it years ago, man. But hey, shouts out to them. Shouts out to the Mavericks for real though, because they're in the finals, and I think they can win it. But anyway.
Yeah, man. But I just wanted to comment on my boy J. Lou, man, because I don't see, like, man, I ain't gonna cap. Since J. Lou got drafted, bro, he gave us his all. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about year one. Did we have Coach Richard? I don't remember exactly who drafted J. Lou. But I know year one, man, when he come right out of Michigan, man, he came out with that dog in him. Bro got a good heart, and bro got a lot of ties to the community. I'm from the South Side. I'm from the D. Bro got a lot of ties within the community as far as having little camps for the high school kids and all that. We love J. Lou in the hood. So, man, I just want to, hopefully he hear this, man. Keep your head up, Jay, because I love J. Lou. I love how he fight. You know what I mean? And, bro, never been scared to tackle. That's one thing I love in my DBs. If my DB not scared to put a lick down, I love it. I love it because everybody can cover, but who gonna really, get physical with them? Yeah, and I like to see that, man.
From the rip, J. Lou.
But other than that, man.
Yeah, from the rip, J. Lou been one of your.
My bad.
That's cool. I said from the rip, J. Lou been one of your better tacklers since he came in, as a rookie, right? And he never been scared to stick his nose in there. A tough guy. I talked about his toughness, his IQ. I really think Zimmer is going to like him. That's all I'm going to keep saying. And if he isn't just like guys because somebody legitimately beat him out, not because I think he lost it.
For sure. And then as far as Cooks, I think he going to have that type of the same type of Ferguson breakout year Ferguson had last year. I feel like Cooks going to have a whole bunch of more chemistry with Dak. It's just a lot. Like Dak, one thing about him, he a rhythm quarterback. That's my guy. He got to trust you. It don't matter if the whole world don't know your last name. If he know you and I can't remember that one dude we let Street. He used to love that boy Street. Once you see that connecting Oxnard and preseason with people, he really playing that ball.
Are you talking about Seth Wilson?
Wilson, yeah, Wilson.
Okay,
my boy Wilson.
You said Devin Street.
You ain't gotta be. You ain't got to be no household name if Dak trusts you. That's really what I'm trying to say. Like, if Dak trusts you, you don't have to be a household name to everybody else. He trusts you, and that's all that matters.
Good or bad. Because we've seen it with Noah Brown. Like, he had no choice but to develop trust with Noah Brown, and sometimes it paid off, sometimes it didn't.
For sure. But, yeah, man, Sky, I appreciate you. My last thing, man. Hey, man, them boys in the Giants land looking crazy. That boy Darren Wallace say he finna retire, man. He done got divorced. He making country music, rap music.
Didn't he drop a diss track or something? I don't know what's going on over there in New York. Hey, look, keep paying Daniel Jones. Keep trading for dudes like Darren Waller. Keep doing what they doing over there. I ain't tripping.
All right, Scott. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Salute. It's our guy, Bishop Kane. I didn't know he was from the D, man. That's what's up. And not for whatever reason, we know why, right? He got put on when he played his city. Anytime or the last few years that Jordan Lewis has played the Lions, he's made plays. 2022, had a pick and he got hurt. That's when he messed his foot up. Then last year he had another pick, both in victories, close victories at that. So yeah, man, J. Lou show out whenever he has to play against his home state. All right, this last one, tricky. tricky for me. Sam Williams. So it's not tricky because of the ability, right? It's tricky because the previous regime loved him coming out of college, specifically Dan Quinn. But I don't believe he ever fully gained the trust of Coach AD or Dan Quinn. I don't know. Two easygoing guys. I don't know what happened there. And that was reflecting in his snaps. He could not get on the field at the end of the year. And then when he did, it was brief. He only had 2 games of 20-plus snaps in 11 weeks. You cannot have that out of your second-round pick pass rusher in his second year. That's just unexcusable. And then in the playoffs, 8 snaps? Can't have it. So those guys are gone. Was he in the doghouse? I don't know. But there was some type of disconnect between him and the guys that supposedly loved him coming out. Year 3, big year for Sam. 2 guys that were pivotal in the rotation are gone. He's up next. Snap-wise, it should, without a doubt, be his best. Production should follow. It should, without a doubt, be his best. But it's tricky to me because you had 2 easygoing, put my arm around your uncle DQ and the British villain himself and AD. You couldn't get the trust of those dudes. You was in the doghouse with those dudes. Dog, Mike Zimmer and Jeff Scanino, what you finna do with that? So this is why it's tough. I don't know what's going on in here. I don't speak to Sam. I don't hear much about him. You know, so I don't know what's going on between the ears. Is he getting better from a IQ standpoint? I know physically he's working out. He's with Micah. Is he getting better from a maturity standpoint? That matters. He plays immature. Physically, best. Easy. Bang. By the way, best, better, or bust for Sam Williams. Physically, it's not even close. I think this is going to be a best year. But he's the one dude where if he start feeling some type of way, if he start feeling like free me, Mike Zimmer is not with none of this. He could easily go from being the best season of his career to a bust. That's why it's tricky. That's why it's tricky. I don't know Sam in between the ears. And we need him to mature there and with this regime. We just do. Because these guys, Scanina, come on, man. Mike Zimmer, he don't have time. And he's not, they didn't draft him. See, Dan Quinn drafted him. And he's still, for whatever reason, two games, 20-plus snaps in the last 11 weeks. And those were blowouts. So, Sam, I'm going to say best, Sam. Because I believe you have the opportunity. I believe you will be the first man off the bench, if that's what we want to call it. There'll be times him and Micah on the field at the same time. I could see, and I thought Sam was going to get 10 last year. I ain't gonna lie. I thought Sam was going to be a 10-sack type of guy last year. He got 4 or so. I could see him doubling that to like 8. Yeah, I could see that happening with Sam, which would be his best, right? But would it shock anybody if he's not picking up what Zim is putting down and Zim is just not here for it? Wouldn't shock me. All right. A lot of you guys are better, best. The funny thing is, he's so young, this one might not be fair because if he's better than last year, it would technically be his best. He's so young. On pace for best. Well, we don't know his pace is yet, but yeah, I think best. Because if it's better than 2023, which 23 and 22 were very similar. He didn't do anything astronomically better or worse than the previous year. So if he's better than last year, I think he will be his best. Competition makes Sam have his best season ever. So who's the comp? See, last year was the comp, in my opinion. You know, Sam has already got the good word from Coach. Coach said, Sam, you first up, man. You the guy. Last year was the competition where it was like 8 people in that room. Ain't that many people in that room now. You know? Ms. Jack said Sam got to grow up. Yeah. The Guru said even Williams is if he's situational, a la Dante Fowler, I think he'll be more than that. I hope he's more than that. We can't be having second round picks being situational. Can't do it. Won't do it. Yeah, I know Toxic. Not big on Sam as the person. Maybe he'll mature here. The new Daniil Hunter, man, I hope. That'd be amazing. If he turns into Daniil Hunter, boy, that'd be something. So for me, I got best for Sam Williams. For Cuzzo, I also have best. For Brandon Cooks, I got better. And Jay Lou, I have better. So I have no bust on this list. So I kind of threw you off a little bit probably when you guys saw old Mazi Smith there. So I didn't include Mazi here. I think it might be a little bit too early for a previous. He was just a rookie last year. But if I would have thrown Mazi out there, what would y'all say? If I was to throw Mazi into this whole better, best, or best, better, or bust, what would y'all say? Cause y'all be killing Mazi, man. What's the question? So y'all know how I am with these. I can't see everything. I can't find her question. So I mean, either repost a question. I can't. It's hard to scan through. I'm one person. I don't have a guy in my ear reading me these things. If I look over into my system, I miss something. I can't see it all. My bad. So if you want to drop the question, you can drop it again while I go look for these. Mazi Smith. Okay, better. I thought for sure this thing was going to be bust. Everybody was going to say bust. Appreciate that, Peasy. Mr. D, can you drop your question in? I know, I'm about to try to get Cowboy by nature. I ain't trying to get cussed out, man. I think I missed a super chat earlier. Yes, I did. Smoke one for you.
Super chat.
He dropped 2. Said Justin Jefferson 4 for 140. Wow, just wow. Let's go, man. Okay, on the way out. Nope, that's not the one we want. We'll talk about it one more time. Let's see if I get this question. I ain't trying to get it. All right, we just not y'all answering the question for. Appreciate you. Yeah. So if you missed the beginning of the show, we talked about this contract. 4-year, $140 million, $35 million guaranteed, 35 million per year, 110 million guaranteed is the new benchmark for CD Lamb. So we'll see if they will come a little bit under that. Dallas is not a fan of setting the market. Have they? Yep. And they've been pissed off every time they did it. I think this gets done, but I don't think it gets done without pulling some teeth. I'll say that. I will say that. Yeah, Schoon. Yeah. Now, if I said Schoon, now, you know what? If I said Schoonmaker, it'd have been bust. But the whole chat would have said that for sure. All right. Real easy show today, man. Like I said, tomorrow is the start of mandatory minicamps. We'll probably have a press conference of some sort. I don't know if it's open to the media every day, but I do know obviously they will have a day where it's open to the media. I can't I can't stand the Cowboys rules, man. And all these other teams, they're so lucky. They're not just getting, media every day, man, but they're getting film, they're getting videos, they're getting everything, all types of access. Cowboys getting my damn nerves. But whenever they do have the media access, we'll discuss the notes. We'll obviously have Pat on later this week. But tomorrow is mandatory minicamp. We'll likely preview that, or we'll go to our next segment of the State of the Union. So make sure y'all stick around for that. I'm going to refresh this one more time. We don't talk about Okay, so Miss Jackie, she said, Sky, she wanted to know why Lamar was fined for not showing up for OTAs to the tune of $750. So he was not fined. From my understanding, in Lamar Jackson's contract, he had a $750,000 workout clause. So if he would have showed up, which I don't even turn down, I know he got bread, but I ain't turned down $750. So he didn't show up, and he doesn't get the $750,000. So it was not a fine. Now, if he does not show up this week, I believe the fines start to occur. Did I answer that? Hopefully so. Hey, Sway, they'll get me started with this nonsense, man. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to press this button.
Push the goddamn button.
For those in the DFW area still affected by this storm, we are with you. If you are, hit me up on Twitter. I think they're doing some type of organization that can help you out or whatever. I saw it. I bookmarked it, and I want to help for those who are in it. I wasn't severely affected, but I've seen the effects around the area. So whatever I can do, hit me up on Twitter, man. We love you all. Peace.
Squad!